Japan had never seen a man like this, and they thought he wasn't real. Not because of what he carried, but because of what stood before them in silence. People gathered quickly, drawn by confusion, unsure how to process what they were seeing. They searched for familiarity, but found nothing that made immediate sense to them. Some reached out to touch him, convinced something about him had to be altered. They rubbed his skin, expecting the color to come off under pressure. But nothing changed, and that answer created a deeper question no one could immediately resolve. Because now the question was no longer appearance, but how someone like this existed here. And that question would reach someone who saw the world differently from everyone around him. Oda Nobunaga did not see confusion. He saw a possibility others were not trained to recognize. So he gave an order, bringing him forward, not as spectacle, but as something worth understanding. And that moment quietly began shifting a story that would move far beyond expectation. At first, they assumed deception, something artificial, something that simply had not yet revealed itself. They tested again, expecting the truth to surface under force, repetition, and closer inspection. But again, nothing changed, and that failure only deepened the uncertainty surrounding his presence. Because now the explanation they expected was no longer available to them in any form. And this is where everything shifted, because Nobunaga made a decision no one anticipated. He chose to bring him closer, not as curiosity, but as someone worth observing carefully. He watched how he stood, how he moved, how he carried himself without hesitation. What he saw was not confusion, but control, something shaped long before arriving in Japan. There was discipline there, something consistent, something that could not be explained by chance. And there was strength, not just physical, but the kind that holds presence without effort. Nobunaga understood what others missed. This man could become something far more significant. So Nobunaga did something no one expected. He gave him status. He gave him a place within his household, not as servant, but within proximity of power. He remained close, learning quickly, adapting to systems that were never designed for him. But what came next pushed things further, beyond curiosity, beyond observation, into something irreversible. He was trained in combat, introduced to weapons, and guided through strict, disciplined structure. Step by step, he advanced, no longer observed from distance, but moving within the system. And then, he crossed a line no outsider was ever expected to reach within that world. He was no longer watching from the outside. He was now inside the structure itself. An African man had become a samurai inside feudal Japan. But that world was unstable because power during that time shifted quickly and without warning. Battles were constant, alliances fragile, and control depended entirely on decisions made in moments. And eventually, everything reached a breaking point that would change the direction of events. Nobunaga was betrayed from within, attacked suddenly in a moment no one prepared for. He was surrounded, forced into a situation where survival and control could no longer coexist. And in that moment, everything that had been built began collapsing all at once. The structure dissolved rapidly, and the world around them shifted into chaos without stability. But even then, Yasuke remained present, still standing within the conflict as everything changed. He fought as events unfolded, as the system around him continued breaking beyond recovery. And then something unusual happens, because after that moment, the record becomes uncertain. There are no clear accounts of what happened next, no confirmed direction after collapse. He disappears from detailed history, leaving only fragments that refuse to fully explain his ending. And those fragments create more questions than answers about what truly became of him. Because for someone so visible, his ending becomes one of the least documented parts. No final chapter exists, no recorded conclusion, only a story that suddenly stops without closure. But even within that silence, one fact remains consistent across every surviving historical record. He was real, and he stood in a place no one expected him to stand. In a system built on hierarchy, discipline, and loyalty, he became part of it. And his story challenges what people think they understand about history, movement, and possibility. Because stories like his are rarely centered, often left hidden on the edges of records. Not because they lacked importance, but because they did not fit expected historical narratives. And his story is only one of many that history tried to bury.